Hey, Dr. Berg here. In this short video, we're going to talk about Hashimoto's thyroiditis simplified. Now, Hashimoto's is a type of a thyroid problem which is a hypothyroid, but it's a different type. It's actually an immune issue problem. And I want to give you some insights because when you do research on this, you really won't find much about it. So I want to show you something. This is a SIBA collection of medical illustrations, endocrinology, volume 4. By Dr. Frank Netter. He's an MD. I'm going to just show you on page 84. I'm just going to read something to you. And this page is on something that describes cortisol, the biological actions of cortisol. That's the stress hormone. So it says cortisol diverts amino acids from the lymph tissue. Now the lymph tissue is all the immune tissue. So the cortisol pushes a protein from that lymph tissue so you don't get as much amino acid. And so we get a marked reduction in size of your lymph nodes. So in other words, it causes an atrophy or a shrinkage of your immune system. Yeah, cortisol will cause the shrinkage of the immune system. And then this accompanied by a release of antibodies. Now what does that mean? It means that all those stored antibodies now are released into the blood. So we're getting a release of these little antibodies which basically help, they're part of the immune system. And then it says that eventual decrease in overall antibody production. So what happens with cortisol is you get a lowering of the entire immune system and the ability to protect our bodies, which then breaks down the immune barrier and raises susceptibility to viral and bacterial infections. So now, what does all that mean? It means that there's a huge connection between stress and the immune deficiency issues. When we get into Hashimoto's or any autoimmune problem, just ask the person this one question: when did it start? And you're going to find it will always start after some stress event, a loss of a loved one, a divorce, a job loss, an injury, a trauma, whatever. And all of a sudden it sets up a weakness within the adrenal, lowering the immune system, and then your body starts attacking itself. So why would your body develop antibodies to attack itself other than that whole system has lost control and it's out of control? And that's what this is. It's your body has producing little antibodies against itself, and so it's a self-attack, and it keeps the thyroid inflamed. So that's what this is. And it's triggered by, I believe, high cortisol, which is stress, and then the whole thing starts becoming a problem. So now, okay, so that's kind of my theory on what's going on, but now what can we do about it? Well, we want to do two things. We want to reduce the inflammation because there's an itis, and some really good things to do for that to help the immune system is to take vitamin D3. And by the way, that adrenal thing, that cortisol, that will deplete your vitamin D as well. So you want to take a little bit more than you normally take. So I take about 10,000 IUs, but make sure you take vitamin K2 with it. I've done videos on this. This is very important. You need to take these together because they work together. So take about 100 micrograms of K2, 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3. And then add some cod liver oil in there, about 500 milligrams. And this combination is very anti-inflammatory, so it'll actually help the inflammation piece of it. But there's something else that is out there that you may want to look into. It's a product by Standard Process, and you're going to have to find a practitioner that has it, but it's called thyroid thyrotrophin PMG. Thyrotrophin PMG. And the PMG part is really DNA extract of thyroid gland from a cow or a sheep, whatever. So it's a glandular extract, but it's a siphoned out DNA from that. So they take the DNA out and they put it in the tablet. It's been used for probably 40 years in the area of alternative health. And so when a person would take thyrotrophin PMG before bed, they'd probably take one, it goes into the stomach, and because that DNA is very similar to our DNA, instead of the thyroid attacking itself, it goes, what the heck is this? Let's go back over here and start attacking this thing in the stomach. So it actually never even leaves the stomach. It goes into the lymphatic system around the stomach, and it kind of just hangs out there. And it causes a diversion. It distracts the antibodies to attack this decoy, and it leaves the thyroid alone. So the guy who developed this theory is a genius, Dr. Royal Lee, back in probably the 20s and 30s. But this is a really simple way of kind of taking the immune system and shifting it over here and leaving the thyroid alone so it can start to heal. So those are a couple tips and my 2 cents on the Hashimoto's thyroiditis.